We live in an era where noise is the default setting. It is the constant broadcasting of our goals to anyone who will listen, the endless stream of opinions we consume, and the deafening loop of our own anxieties. Take Amir. He spends his days describing the golden crops he plans to plant, assuring the whole village he will be the richest farmer they've ever seen. He does all this talking while sitting in the shade, promising to start the actual work tomorrow. Then there's Radha. Her noise is entirely internal. Trapped in a mental spiral of panic, her days are consumed by terrifying what-ifs about her missing husband and her children. The volume of her own fear has left her unable to take a single step forward. And Kabir faces the weight of external noise. He's a boy with empty pockets and ambitious dreams, surrounded by neighbors who constantly remind him he is far too poor to ever be more than a laborer. This constant volume, the boasting, the panic, and the relentless criticism, acts as psychological friction. It is a constant drain on the limited energy these three need to actually change their circumstances. The chaos they face all shares a single commonality. It is loud. To move past it, they don't need a louder voice or a bigger announcement. They need to find a way to operate in a vacuum of their own making, a framework called the Triad of Silence. The first discipline is silencing the fear. Whether the noise comes from Kabir's neighbors or from inside Radha's own head, the mechanism is the same. It keeps the mind focused on the threat instead of the task. Kabir's mentor hands him a mirror to illustrate this. He tells the boy to look past the painful noise of his environment and locate the quiet, unshakable fire hidden right behind his own eyes. The fire only becomes visible once the boy stops listening to the village. This chart shows cognitive capacity under stress. Hyper-focused on worst-case scenarios, threat processing fills the entire bar, leaving zero room for execution. To fix this, Radha forces out her panic, replacing it with a quiet affirmation. Shrinking the red block, she reclaims bandwidth. This shift provides immediate strength. Radha finds the energy to care for her children, and Kabir discovers the resilience to sit under a dim light and study his repair manuals long after the village has gone to sleep. Silencing fear does not make the external problems go away. It simply reclaims the cognitive resources you need to actually solve them. The second discipline targets a subtle type of noise, the ego's demand for respect and applause. A student named Sam learns this through a task from a wise monk. He is told to balance a massive, heavy watermelon on his head and walk through the village without dropping it. Sam treats the task with absolute, rigid concentration. But as he steps through the village, the locals start laughing. They point, cheer mockingly, and make funny faces, trying to break his focus with their noise. He reaches the monk's hut, exhausted but triumphant. Sam stands there waiting for praise, but instead of being impressed, the old monk simply bursts into laughter. Sam realizes then that carrying a weight is simply part of the journey. The world doesn't owe him a standing ovation for showing up and doing what's required. If you face life's burdens with a light heart instead of a demand for respect, they become adventures rather than weights. True emotional resilience requires silencing the ego. When you stop demanding that the world acknowledge your struggle, the struggle itself becomes much easier to manage. The final discipline is silencing our own empty promises. We see this play out in the field Amir never planted. Amir is given two seeds. The first is the seed of ambition, which will yield wealth, but requires daily, silent care. The second is the seed of laziness, which grows automatically if left alone. This comparison shows the biological reality of effort. The ambition line on the left requires manual effort for every upward tick. The laziness line needs no input. It thrives on passive neglect. While Amir boasts, the laziness line spikes exponentially, completely swallowing the ambition graph. The shock of his ruined field finally stops Amir's talking. He drops to his knees in the dirt. The next morning, before the sun is up, he is silently and painfully pulling weeds with his bare hands. Ambition dies in the loud promises of tomorrow. It only survives in the silent, painful action of today. Kabir's business didn't grow while he argued with the village. Radha's peace didn't come from her questions. And Amir's harvest certainly didn't happen while he sat in the shade. The momentum only shifted for them when the talking stopped. Their actual turning points happened in the dark, during late nights of study, early mornings in the field, and silent internal shifts of perspective. Mastering the triad of silence starves your distractions of the oxygen they need to survive. When you cut off the noise of fear, ego, and excuses, all that remains is the work. This is the nature of relentless progress. It doesn't announce itself. It simply moves upward, through resistance, until it can no longer be ignored. Stop broadcasting your intentions. Stop demanding applause. And stop listening to the noise of doubt. Cultivate your inner silence, do the work, and let your results make the noise.